When a crisis hits, war headlines, sudden market drops, oil spikes, scary volatility, most people feel the same thing, an urge to act. We refresh the chart, we watch the red candles, and our brain starts whispering, do something before it gets worse. This is the moment when portfolios get damaged, not because we are dumb, because the human brain hates uncertainty, and markets deliver uncertainty in the most emotional format possible. So this video is not going to be about predictions. We are not going to guess the next move. We are not going to pretend we know what oil does next week or what the next headline will be. We are going to build a crisis protection plan that works even if we are wrong about everything. I'm Carlo, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, behavior, and why people blow up good plans during stressful periods. Here is the truth. Protection is not a secret hedge or a magic asset. Protection is a system that prevents forced selling, prevents panic decisions, and keeps our long-term investing engine running while everyone else is reacting emotionally. If we follow this plan, we won't feel like we're guessing. We'll feel like we're executing. What protection actually means in a crisis? Before we start, we need to define what we're protecting. Most beginners think protection means my portfolio never goes down. That's not realistic if we own risk assets like stocks. Stocks can drop quickly during crisis. That is part of the deal. Real protection means this. We don't get forced to sell when the market is down. We don't make emotional decisions that lock in losses. We don't take risks we can't tolerate. We keep enough stability so we can wait for recovery. We keep the plan consistent so time can do its job. If we can do those things, we'll survive most crises financially, even if the news stays ugly. The Crisis Protection Plan. This plan has 7 steps. Stabilize our real life first, that's cash flow, emergency fund, and debt. Separate money by time horizon, so we stop mixing buckets. Set a target allocation that matches our psychology. Use rules to reduce risk without guessing. Rebalancing bands plus if-then rules. Build protection the boring way. That's diversification plus quality plus margin. Avoid fake protection. Panic cash moves, complex hedges, concentration. Run a weekly crisis routine, so we stay calm and consistent. Now let's build it step by step. Step 1. Stabilize real life first. The number one reason people destroy portfolios in a crisis is not bad investing. It's being forced to sell because real life needs cash. A crash becomes a disaster when bills still need to be paid. Income gets shaky, and we don't have a buffer. That's why step 1 is not a market step. It's a life step. We need one number, our essential monthly spending. Essentials are housing, utilities, basic food, transport to work, insurance, minimum debt payments, basic healthcare, and anything required to keep life running. Essentials are not eating out, traveling, shopping, upgrades, or subscription stacks we barely use. If we don't know this number, we can estimate it in 15 minutes by looking at bank transactions for the last month and separating necessities from wants. The goal is not perfect accounting. The goal is clarity. Now we ask, how many months of essentials can we cover with cash-like money without selling investments? Cash-like means checking, savings, money market, short-term safe instruments. Not stocks, not crypto, not anything that can drop 20% in a week. If the answer is less than 1 month, we are not protected, no matter what our portfolio looks like. We are fragile. That's not an insult. It's a condition that we can fix. A beginner progression that works. A starter buffer, $1,000 or a local equivalent. Then 1 month of essentials. Then 3 months. If income is unstable, 6 months. This buffer is not an investment. It is insurance against being forced to sell at a bad time. If we have credit card debt at 18% to 30%, that is a guaranteed loss every month. It's not maybe, it's math. During crises, that debt becomes even more dangerous because income can become uncertain and expenses can rise. So one part of protection is simple. We don't let high-interest debt grow. Minimum payments are non-negotiable. If we have extra cash flow, we attack the highest interest rate first. That is a guaranteed return equal to the interest rate we are avoiding. We set these rules before emotions arrive. We do not sell long-term investments to fund short-term fear. We do not invest short-term money into volatile assets because we want better returns. If we stick to those 2 rules, we avoid the most common crisis mistakes. In crises, prices can rise in specific categories: energy, transport, food. If we have no margin, any spike feels like an emergency. That stress can leak into investing decisions. So we create margin by cutting low-value spending temporarily. Not forever, temporarily. We keep it simple. Cap eating out, pause unused subscriptions, reduce impulse purchases, avoid new monthly commitments. If we can free even $200 to $500 per month, our buffer grows and stress drops. That alone protects the portfolio because we're less likely to panic. Step 2. Separate money by time horizon. Crisis investing gets confusing because people mix money buckets. They treat a down payment like long-term money. They treat retirement money like short-term money. Then they panic when volatility appears. So we split money into 3 buckets. Bucket number 1, short-term memory. If we need money within a year, rent or backup, emergency fund or car replacement, medical cushion, planned purchase, this money is not invested in volatile assets. It stays cash-like. This is where many people make the biggest mistake. They put short-term money into stocks because stocks go up over time. That is true over long time horizons, but it is not guaranteed in the next 6 months. And if we need the money soon, volatility is not temporary. It is a risk to the goal. Bucket number 2, medium-term money. This is down payments, business funds, education plans, relocation money. We can take some risk, but we prioritize reliability. The closer the deadline, the more conservative we should be. Bucket number 3, long-term money. This is retirement investing. Long-term wealth building, money we won't touch for a long time. This bucket is allowed to be volatile. That is the price of long-term returns. Most crisis panic comes from confusing these buckets. If long-term money is treated as short-term money, we sell at the bottom. If short-term money is treated as long-term money, we take risks we can't afford. So the protection plan is simple. We stop mixing buckets. Step 3. Set a target allocation that matches our psychology. A crisis protection plan must have numbers. If we don't have a target, we improvise. Improvisation in a crisis becomes emotion. So we pick a target mix for the long-term bucket. Examples: 80 and 20 stocks and bonds, which is more aggressive, 70 and 30, which is moderate, 60 and 40, which is more conservative. We choose based on time horizon and our ability to tolerate drops. The sleep test. Ask this honestly. If our portfolio dropped 20% to 30% in a crisis, would we still follow the plan? Would we still keep investing? Would we avoid panic selling? If not, the allocation is too aggressive. That's not weakness. That's reality. We don't need to be the toughest investor. We need to be consistent. Consistency beats bravado. Why being slightly conservative can be smarter. If we choose a portfolio we can stick with, we keep buying, we keep our plan, and we recover. If we choose a portfolio that's too risky for our psychology, we eventually sell at the worst moment. That turns volatility into permanent loss. So in crisis times, the best allocation is the one we can hold without breaking our own rules. Step 4. Use rules to reduce risk without guessing. Now we get to the heart of protecting without guessing. We do not respond to headlines. We respond to rules. Crisis push portfolios out of balance. Stocks may fall. Bonds may behave differently. Sectors may swing. If we don't have a rebalancing rule, we start chasing what feels safe. Rebalancing means bringing the portfolio back to target. 2 easy methods. Schedule method, that's rebalance monthly or quarterly. Band method, rebalance only when we drift beyond a band like 5% off target. For example, our target is 70 and 30. A crisis hits, stock falls, and now we are 62.38. The band method, we rebalance back towards 70.30. That means buying stocks while they feel scary, but it is not guessing. It's maintenance. Rebalancing is one of the only buy low, sell high behaviors that regular people can do consistently because it's rule-based. If we want one rule that prevents panic moves, use this. If we drift more than 5% below target stocks, we rebalance up. If we drift more than 5% above target stocks, we rebalance down. This prevents us from turning into a momentum chaser. Here's a decision tree we can follow when we feel urgency. If we might need the money within 12 months, then it stays cash-like. If we have high interest debt, then we reduce debt before increasing investing risk. If our emergency fund is weak, then we build buffer first. If our long-term plan is intact and we are diversified, then we keep buying on schedule. If our portfolio drifted outside the band, then we rebalance. If nothing meaningful changed, then we do nothing extra. This is how we act without guessing. Crisis decisions should almost never be made in the same hour as a scary headline. If we feel a strong urge to trade, we wait 24 hours, reread the rules, and then decide. This prevents emotional trades that feel smart in the moment and hurt later. Step 5. Build protection the right way. A lot of people think protection is buying one safe asset. In reality, protection is usually built through structure, diversification, quality, and margin. A simple long-term diversified setup often includes broad stock exposure, some high-quality bonds or bond-like assets, depending on your region and access. Cash buffer outside the portfolio, step 1. We are not trying to eliminate drawdowns, we are trying to reduce the chance of catastrophic outcomes and reduce emotional pressure. During war and crisis periods, sectors behave differently. Energy may rise while others drop. Defense may do well while consumer spending slows. If we own broad exposure, we don't need to guess the winning sector. We can protect ourselves from being wrong by not making one big bet. If we want a small sandbox allocation to things like gold, energy, or defense, we keep it small, 1% to 5% max, and we treat it as speculation, not protection. Real protection is stability plus diversification plus discipline. The strongest protection for long-term investors is not a trade. It's continuing to invest consistently. If we contribute monthly or per paycheck, we keep the pipeline running. That's how we buy more shares when prices are down. That's how we benefit from recovery later. Many people stop contributions during crisis because they feel uncertain. That often becomes the worst decision because they stop buying when assets are cheaper and restart later when things feel safe again. Our protection plan includes one key commitment. If it's long-term money and our real life is stable, we keep buying on schedule. Step 6. Avoid fake protection. This is where people get wrecked. They buy protection that feels protective but creates new risks. Going all cash feels safe, but it creates a second hard decision. When to buy back? Most people do not buy back until they feel safe. Feeling safe often returns after prices recover. That is how people sell low and buy high. If we need more cash, we build a cash buffer properly in step 1. We don't nuke the portfolio out of fear. Options, leveraged ETFs, shorting, these can be used for professionals, but they can also create fast losses and force emotional decisions. If we cannot explain the hedge clearly and know exactly how it behaves, we don't use it. For most people, protection should be structural, not tactical. During conflict, obvious trades feel safe. Oil is rising, so buy oil. Defense spending might rise, so buy defense. The problem is that if it feels obvious, it might already be priced in. Also, concentration increases regret risk. One wrong bet can wreck the year. Protection is not guessing the winner. Protection is avoiding the blow-up. Constant chart checking increases stress. Stress triggers action. Action triggers mistakes. If we watch the portfolio all day, we will eventually do something emotional, so we limit monitoring. A good rule, check weekly, not hourly. Step 7. What we do when the market drops. Here's a simple response plan when markets are falling and headlines are scary. First, we check real-life stability. Are bills covered? Is the buffer real? Is debt growing? If not stable, we fix stability first. Second, we confirm which bucket this money is in. If it's long-term, we treat it like long-term. If it's short-term, it stays safe. Third, we apply the rebalancing rule. Only rebalance if outside the band. Fourth, we keep buying on schedule if we are stable and it's long-term money. Fifth, we reduce noise. We limit monitoring to a scheduled check-in. That's protection without guessing. Step 8. 3 scenarios and the exact moves we make. Do not sell. We check buffer and cash flow. If stable, we keep investing on schedule. If drifted outside the band, we rebalance. Then we stop obsessing. We invest enough to capture any employer match if available. Everything else attacks high-interest debt until it's under control. That increases margin and reduces stress, which is protection. We wait 24 hours. We run the checklist. If we want action, we do controlled actions. Top up buffer, cut optional spending, rebalance if needed, and keep contributions running. We don't go all cash in a panic. Step 9. The crisis checklist. When the world is loud, we follow this checklist. Are bills covered for the next month? Do we have a starter buffer? Is high-interest debt growing? Is this money short-term, medium-term, or long-term? Do we have a target allocation? Are we outside the rebalancing band? Are automatic contributions running? Are we acting from fear or from rules? If we can answer these, we're not guessing. Step 10. The weekly crisis routine. This routine stops us from acting emotionally. Once per week, confirm bills and buffer, confirm debt isn't growing, check allocation drift, rebalance only if needed, confirm auto investing is running. Choose one improvement for next week, just one. Then we stop. We do not live inside the portfolio. The truth about crisis protection. We can't eliminate volatility. If we own risk assets, drawdowns happen. Our job is not to avoid every drop. Our job is to avoid decisions that permanently damage our future. That means we protect cash flow, keep a buffer, reduce high-interest debt, diversify, rebalance with rules, and keep investing consistent when it makes sense. That's how we protect a portfolio in a crisis without guessing. I'm Carlo. Thanks for watching, and remember, this is not financial advice. It's your life, your money, and your choice whether you want to drive your wealth or park it in a driveway until it disappears.